Up the Pids, baby. What a time. What a roller coaster ride the last 4 games have been. Amazing big time win against San Diego FC, and it's all thanks to Chris Armas getting the boys ready, trying a new formation, and getting everything right. We talk about the staying power of the new formation, transfer window, NWSL updates, and so much more starting now. Live from the Toyota Lounge in downtown Denver on the corner of Colfax and York above the DMVR bar. It's the DMVR Rapids podcast. I am joined by my dear friends, our Burgundy boys, super producer Yaya, feeling a little more super these days. Now that, best team in the league, we have all the scalps minus Vancouver.
Honestly, man, and Vancouver also just laid down the wood against Austin FC. So it's like, it made me feel a lot better after that game. So I am a lot happier about this team for sure.
Incredible. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, downtown Dwayne Brown, even more downtown today.
It's true. I'm so downtown that I was the only one who picked a win versus San Diego. Maybe in the whole world. Hey. I think there were a few on Twitter and Blue Sky that are with me, but mostly a lot of people taking L's, including San Diego on Saturday.
San Diego.
Yeah, this was maybe the lowest the vibes were going into a game, and Chris knew it. Turned it around, figured out a new strategy, and boy, did it pay off. Of course, though, we are coming from the Toyota Lounge, Toyota official homies of the Rapids and the official vehicle of DMVR. We are driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. Let's get into it, boys, because I think Lloyd Sam in our midweek super sub pod, I love that branding. Yeah. He was on the game. He was a joy to talk to. And we didn't pick up on it at the time, but you were very astute in picking it up on it afterwards in our chat that Lloyd was dropping a few hints on he asked us about Yapi, which was funny because Yapi's barely played this season. Yep. And while we wanted to maybe get into some Cabral, he seemed to have maybe already moved on. And then we get this odd formation, which is kind of described to us as a 4-4-2 pregame. Well, it's a very fluid 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So, what were your takeaways from it all?
My takeaways was San Diego did not know what was coming to them. And I think even the Rapids at points were kind of shocked how much pressure they were able to get on San Diego.
Yeah.
To the point that they were panicking with the opportunities they had. There was a couple of moments that made me laugh so much at the beginning of the game where San Diego has the ball and they're used to getting pressed really hard and having this fluid transition from one side to the next. You find Chucky, you have Dwyer on the other side, and it's just very pretty. And the Rapids would just back off 10 feet. San Diego had the ball at their feet and they didn't know what to do. So they'd pass it back and then the Rapids would press and they'd panic. It was Chris Armas studied San Diego all year long. It feels like he knew exactly how to take advantage. He knew altitude was going to be the biggest home changer for them, and he really, really attacked that. And at the end of the day, as much as credit as I want to give Yapi and the guys, Chris Armas really came prepared for this game. He managed a game that I think nobody else expected, especially the pundits around the league.
I like that you're going tempo and kind of the surprise angle, because I hadn't thought about that as much. But yeah, the game kind of had a bit of a frenetic pace at the start, and the Rapids just controlled the hell out of it. They end the half 1-0, but the XG was like
3.4 or something
off
like
the
that.
charts. They really kind of dominated the first half and should have come away with more than just the one goal. Also, the Richard's been kind of lit,
Oh, very lit.
which
Been
is a
good,
beautiful thing to say.
because it's still early season.
Yes, indeed. Though the weather has been beautiful. What did you kind of take from the new formation and the approach coming out to start the game, Dwayner?
I think one of the, I'm not saying it's the number one, but certainly one of the highlights of the formation change was the unlocking of Cole Bassett.
Yes.
Having
Yes.
Yapi in and pushing up to more, having Hoffa and Yapi up front to kind of open up that secondary, I don't know better word to call it, but that sort of tier 2, that secondary line of offense. It was finally opened up for Cole Bassett to do what Cole Bassett does.
Yeah.
He's been in a weird spot all year, because we do have a Josh Atencio and more of a defensive mid, so we're not running that weird double pivot back there, which was opening up Cole to be able to be more active last year. So he's been kind of handcuffed these first few games, and now what we saw was now a more of an open space, the defense being more attracted to and having to deal with two like legit forwards in Yapi and Hoffa kind of messing stuff up, pulling the center backs out, which allowed Cole Bassett and Georgie to do a lot more work, which was pretty dope.
Cole
it was pretty
outstanding.
sweet.
I'm watching that thinking, I think like on our wish list of things we'd like to see the Rapids add, maybe top of my list would be like a DP winger. Jeez, when Cole Bassett's playing like that on the right flank, who needs a DP winger? You've got one right there, and Cole Bassett. And he had his awakening in that San Jose game, right? He gets the goal. He looked like he was freelancing a lot more and more of a 4-3-3 look with Georgie playing more out wide. And it was like, okay, Cole's figured some stuff out. We're rolling now. And then had some lows. And it's something that's kind of been a theme for us this season is we like how Josh is playing. We like that partnership with Ollie and the balance it's given. And we think, on top of that partnership with the other additions on the defense, they're much more solid in the back seven. I add Zach to the back six, right? But then it's kind of been, it's really hurt Cole. Cole has just not looked like himself. And this game with what, there's a bit, the different apps have different formations, right? So let's get into this. It's described as a 4-4-2 on the MLS app and website, on
That's
the Pids
how Armas threw
app
it out
and
there, at least.
Yes. And I think in non-possession, that Georgie and Cole are expected to drop back more as more of just true like left and right midfielders, cover those flanks, give the right and left backs their support. And in non-possession, it's more of a 4-4-2. In possession, when we're pushing forward, when we're going to attack, it was much closer to what the ESPN app has, which was a 4-2-3-1 with the double pivot, the double sixes in Josh and Ollie, which is the best way to utilize them. Those two guys, that's how you maximize them because they bring so much cover.
Ollie,
so
how
much
versatile
discipline.
has he been this season? Like,
Ollie's
box to
a beast.
box, defensive mid, 10, winger, and dude balled out in every position. Just wanted to shout that out. Like, what a versatile player.
My guy right there. That's
Yeah,
a my guy
that's-
TM.
that's
yeah.
literally your guy.
He's a beast, man. He is fantastic. We talk so much about the other guys needing to get some love on the USMNT. Ollie as your backup, Tyler Adams would not be bad at all. But I don't want to digress.
Let's continue.
Then you have Cole and Georgie out wide, and Cole was just, most of the goal scoring chances, most of that XG is coming from Cole, creating opportunities from the right wing, and he's not playing like a pure winger. It's far different experience than like Cabral trying to bomb down the wing. He's cutting inside. He's trying to find those passes. He's more direct. And I mean, this has always been the benefit and the curse of Cole Bassett, dating back to his first stint with the Rapids before he went to Holland, was like, when that guy's allowed to freelance, he's such a beast. He just covers so much. He can do so much for you offensively. And he really came alive. And then with the right wing Cole, left wing Georgie, Yapi had to play as more of a 10, more behind Rafa than a true like front two, no?
And I see, to me, it felt like it was kind of inverted. Yapi dropped
Which
back a
would
little
be more
bit.
natural, yes.
Yeah, Yapi dropped back a little bit more. But the thing was that I think that opened up for longer runs from Yapi himself, where Rafa was the creator. Rafa played that false nine, but really high up. And he would like immediately come down, hold the ball. Yapi could run, and he'd like lay it off to Ollie or Georgie, and Yapi was in on the other side. And I think that's where it's so beneficial, because we've said it before. Rafa's the creator. He's a goal scorer. He's good at scoring goals. He's done that quite good so far this season. Four so far. That's not bad. But the way that he's able to hold up play and open up the guys, direct traffic, and get past his first guy and find the right player, that's where he's more beneficial. He plays a lot like Diego Rubio, just a little bit faster, a little bit more talented. And you can really tell it works really well when he has a pure striker like Yapi, who's a big body. You see him in the middle, and he's just going to throw his body at the ball.
100%.
And I'm excited. And I wonder if Alex Harris is something similar to Rafa as well, and can come in, because he does play more of that false nine, more of that creator role, but he's also a goal scoring machine. So I'm excited to see if they start kind of testing that out. If you have two of those guys out there with maybe another goal scorer, it's so much fun when you finally have that kind of key. You unlocked two guys with one formation, and you start wondering like what other guys can be thrown in there to have a lot of fun with this offense.
100%. I mean, Yapi, I thought, had such a mature performance, being asked to do so much and be so fluid. The other thing is, I just talked about how Cole really strives when he's more fluid and allowed to freelance. It was amazing seeing that whole front four, Georgie, Yapi, Rafa, and Cole, all kind of be able to play off each other, be dynamic, be fluid. I mean, God, total football in Commerce City these days. A beautiful thing to see.
And that's been the message from Chris Armas since day one, is when you ask Chris Armas about wingers and strikers, he almost never uses those words. He just uses forwards. He's not a guy who's locked into only play your position. We are solely positional soccer here. He's very much into the group working, as you said, total football, working the whole group, figuring out who fits in where. And I think the other thing, I mean, we keep going back to Cole, as we should. People forget, because he's very loved here, like how good he is, because he'll go up and down, and a lot of it is based on formation and tactics for where he fits in. But the other thing that happened on Saturday, I will say, in my opinion, for the first time this season, is that we activated the right side of the field. This squad has been so left heavy all season long. We finally opened up the right side. A lot of that has to do with what you were just saying about Cole being able to freelance, shift over, almost being a right wing. And then you have Yapi being able to invert, and move in, like Yaya was saying. Well, that's all activating that right side of the field, and we've talked about subs and who we would start and wouldn't on that side. But that side of the field has been almost dead all season.
Yeah.
And you look at it, when it activates and you are able to play now all three and be able to activate all three, middle, both sides, on that press, San Diego had problems, like big problems from the Rapids when we were able to do that.
100%. I mean, Lloyd Sam talked about how, they got some defenders back for San Diego FC, so maybe the defense wasn't exploitable the way we would have thought coming into the game. This new formation made it look really exploitable. Yep. Dwayne gave us the perfect segment for our next topic, where we will talk about that right flank. We will talk about Cabral coming in, not as a right winger, more as a 10, which was really intriguing. KDP's debut. We've got so much more to get into. Even how the 2 goals for San Diego FC came also from the right flank. So lots to unpack still. But first, a word from our friends at Toyota. So much to say about Toyota in one read. A, they're big homies, not just ours, but of the Rapids. B, they are the perfect automotive company for people like us in Colorado. Anyone who does drive a Toyota around town will tell you what the perfect Colorado car they are. They are reliable, great for our diverse weather. Trucks and SUVs are in their DNA, and they've also got a wide array of zero-emission vehicles. Far more than any other automaker. They give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. There are 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra, iForce, Max Hybrid truck. And yeah, just the perfect family car, the perfect car to get lost in the mountains with, the perfect car to go tailgating at the Richard Inn and go get yourself some dev dogs at that C38 tailgate. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Woo, woo. Toyota, a proud partner of the Colorado Rapids and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. And speaking of true homies of the Colorado Rapids, how about the official kit sponsor for the Rapids, UC Health? That's right, an official healthcare partner of the Colorado Rapids as well. We all know it, guys. It's that time here at DNVR. We're like drinking out a hose because there's a million things going on at once. These busy periods at work, they trickle into to your personal life as well. It's important
Eating
to take
unhealthy, doing all
damn
these things.
straight.
Like you're just trying to get things done,
Yes.
and you'll just grab the first thing you want to eat.
Yes, I do not know what I'll get for lunch yet. Time to make some good choices. And it's all about live life in a sustainable way. Live life like there is a tomorrow. The thing I tell myself, I tell my family and friends, I tell our team is like, look, you're no good to us if you're not taking care of number one. You are number one, right? Be the best
100%.
yaya you can be to then be the best colleague, spouse, you name it. And that's what UC Health is all about. Learn about living life like there is a tomorrow. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary.
The older we get too, the cooler it is to be healthier. Like when you're like, the older you get, the more you're like, I just want to be healthy. Like it used to be about being cool and all that. It's just like, as long as I just have another 40 years in me, that I'm cool with that.
The mind switch I'm trying to do to tap into my juvenile brain, which, like, you know, it is what it is, is I'm telling myself, if you eat healthy, think of it as taking drugs when I was a teenager, you know, like it's going to give you the same positive effects, you know, and I don't need to disassociate with drugs like I used to as a youngster, right? I live a beautiful life, very fortunate. So no need to disassociate. Let's just amplify the way I feel by eating healthy, by getting
Drink
good
that
rest.
smoothie the same way you're going to drink that tequila shot.
Exactly
just down
right.
the exact same pipe.
Were you guys surprised if you were on the call today? We had a great call.
Oh, be excited, by the way, guys, for what's coming up.
I'm a
cool.
green shake in the morning guy. Did you guys catch that?
I was driving, yelling at
I was
drivers. so
driving.
I did it.
Oh, the odds were like plus 2,000 that I'm a green shake in the morning guy, you know. So
When I met
surprise some
Dre,
people. Living
met-
like there is a tomorrow.
when
no
I
doubt.
met Dre, 8:30 a.m. was more like beer o'clock time. Like,
Yeah.
than it was green shake time.
Love to disassociate, you know. Now I get to do it with the Rapids. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a lot easier.
Another guy who has to disassociate these days, Kevin Cabral. our favorite Frenchman.
What a transition.
But it's what I pride myself.
A plus.
It's what I pride myself on. You guys know it. We can't do the Home Alone Kevin bit anymore, at least for a minute. The team is unlocked from the right flank. Interesting, though, the 2 goals also came from that right flank. The first one especially, you can see Ollie look at like the outside of the box as he's crashing down to cover the one guy. And he's like, Cole, you better cover that guy. Pass goes backwards exactly to who Cole is not covering. And that's where the first goal for San Diego FC comes from. So I do think there are some cracks defensively that need to be covered. Also found it fascinating that Chris makes the decision to sub out both Sam Vines and Reggie Cannon. So giving your right and left back a break because you are asking a lot of them because you don't have more of a pure wingle. You don't have a 3-man holding midfield. So you are asking a lot of your guys out wide. And then Kevin Cabral is subbed in, but he's subbed in and is playing the 10. So taking him away from playing out wide, putting him in more of a support role like that. Then Omir was outstanding. KDP debuted. I guess I'm putting a lot of topics on the platter. You get to choose what direction we go.
I want to talk a little bit about that, like defensive lapses, because I think those are cracks that with the new formation that you're asking Cole to play another area that he's not really playing that often. It's gonna happen. It's bad. And also, those 2 goals were great goals. They were shot perfectly, like outside of the box. Like they were bangers. Like we can't even, like, Cole should have been better at that. But you see that all the time in soccer where those defensive lapses happen. It's not something that it just happens. It happens to every team. And those are just great shots. Like,
it's game 1 with a new formation against a team that's super hot offensively. It's going to happen.
90% of the time, those goals don't go in. And then the 10% that do are bangers, and they're on ESPN, and everybody's talking about them. That's how that happens. It's fine. You won the game, especially because you found something with those guys, and that's the best part about this.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Cabral coming in and playing that like 10/9 kind of role, I think that helps him out too, because that puts him more into that fray, into the action.
Yes.
Instead of him being out wide and being able to get lost within everybody, him being able to just kind of walk around that right side without doing nothing. You're in the middle of the action. You have to go out and do something. You have to throw yourself into being a playmaker. And he had a couple of good plays. He has that goal that he missed. It wasn't pretty. That should have been a goal. But at least he's shooting, which is something we don't see from Kevin very often. He's in the right spot at the right time for the first time, it feels like, all year.
Poor guy.
And I think that's the kind of stuff that putting him more towards the infield will help him out more. Putting him in the middle where I think the ball will just magically appear to him. It's going to be better for him than then being on the outside and having to ask for the ball or having to do a little bit extra something special to have that opportunity. So I'm excited for that right side for Kevin Cabral if he stays in the middle. And I also think Cole's going to get better on that defensive side. It just takes time to learn it.
He's good with his feet. I mean, people forget that because when he's on the right, especially this season, Cabral has one move. It's to
Run.
fly down the right, get to the corner of the box, and then as soon as a defender steps up, he does his cutback. And we've created names for it up in the press box, and we kind of joke about it. We're at the point where we call it, like we know it's going to happen. He runs up, he cuts back. You know, it's the Cabral signature move on the
Cabral
right.
cutback.
And there's some other more fun names. But in the middle, like you said, it's forcing him to be more integrated into the offense. He is great with his feet. I mean, he really does have some sweet feet.
Great touch.
He's fast feet.
When you put him right in the middle, it enables him to be able to put that to use. I'll cut him some slack on missing a goal he absolutely should have had, only because in the first half, it seemed like every Rapids player on the field had a shot at the goal in about a 5-second period. and the entire team missed.
Wide
That was
open
the
goal too, with only a defender.
No
back
one
there.
was there. So I will cut him a little bit of slack on that one, which I normally don't. So, but yeah, it was interesting to see him not be way out on the right side and just doing what everybody knew. The other team already knows what's coming.
For sure.
You know, so it's not hard to defend. But
Omir impressive again. And then we got to see Ku make his debut coming in on that right flank.
Ku
DP.
Yeah, okay.
KDP. And I mean, perfect way to debut this formation because it's a formation that KDP fits in perfectly. He's figuring things out. Kind of a late
rusty.
substitution. Yeah, 100%. But I do expect him to have, to give this offense a decent injection. And with how well Omir's playing, like, okay, slowly your winger options are starting to come along.
yep.
To where I know there's like the Toyota chats talking about, someone said there were groans from my section when Cabral was subbed in. Tough, but I appreciate. I think Chris understands the importance of still keeping him in the mix, not completely cutting him off and just like totally trouncing his
confidence.
Yeah.
Especially because you might need him later on, and he is a piece that you could still
100%.
use for something else. Like if you need a pace of change, that guy is perfect for that.
For sure.
Like if you need somebody that if you're up 2-1 in the playoffs, and you need a guy that can just run and get the ball and shoot at goal at some point, that's exactly the guy you want out there.
I mean, he in a game that was a pretty signature Kevin Cabral game, wasn't necessarily outstanding. That 2-1 win against LAFC in the very first game of the season in the Champions.
He was on fire that
He
game.
made those 2 goals.
Yes.
And again, he had plenty of mistakes, plenty of typical Kevin Cabral type plays, but he is that kind of guy. Like it takes nothing and all of a sudden he's creating a goal scoring chance and you might create a PK or what have you. So
especially in the cold, like you don't want to run after a guy in the cold.
Yes,
you're like,
it's
just
true.
go.
It's true, 100%.
One thing I did want to touch on was Georgie. I thought this was not a great Georgie game.
It's my one concern about this formation, aside from the coverage, is are you sacrificing Georgie a bit too much to make Cole play his best, to make Yapi play his best, to make even Hoffa play his best? Georgie is more 80% of himself.
But my thing is, not a great Georgie game, and you still came out against an on-fire team on top with a lot of offense. And my thing starts becoming, if Georgie figures out how to pick his spots in this formation, if they figure out how to get him involved and really be the Georgie that we love and recognize, I think this team is going to be offensively like a juggernaut at some point, where like the ball is just flowing from left to right with 3-4 playmakers back there. Because even Josh Atento has that playmaking ability where he just picks guys from the back and he's like, there you go, make your run. So like it does get you a little bit excited, but that concern is there for me because Georgie did
1000%.
get missing a little bit. He also wasn't that accurate with his passes in the chances he had. So it makes me think that maybe he just had an off night a little bit. Like it wasn't his game, and I'm kind of excited to see how he kind of progresses forward. Because even some of those touches, some of those shots, they were just a little off, right? They were just like not Georgie 100%, but that had nothing to do with formation. It was just his own ability that came.
100%.
What if I threw it out to you that was one of Georgie's highest ranked games on FOTMOB all season?
I believe you.
Was it really?
Yeah. And the reason I think that maybe we look at this game from Georgie and go, oh man, Georgie wasn't as good, it's because he didn't have to put the whole team on his shoulders for once.
That's actually
You
fair.
had Cole doing work. You had Yapi come out and debut for the season doing the work, which allowed Hoffa to be able to be the creator and create these chances. So Georgie was just a regular player, at his level, which is very, very high. But he was able to do it finally in a team setting versus having to literally pick the whole team up and carry the team on his shoulders to force the ball into the net.
I was a little cross-eyed during the game because I wanted to pay attention to every player because every player was having
There was
such
fun things to watch.
yeah.
Finally,
So,
for sure.
That could honestly
The
be
grade's
part
also
of it.
influenced by getting a goal.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which-
It wasn't out of 10. It was like a 7.5 game for me out of him.
I think that's maybe my number 2 concern of the new formation. The other one is it felt a bit like last year's Rapids. Like, are you sacrificing maybe too much defensively with this new formation? We'll get into that final topic before we talk about transfer window and all that other good stuff. On the other side, where I want to give a shout out to ourselves. That's right. TheDMVR.com right now. Outstanding offer. If you want to become a diehard, what does that entail? That entails access to our website and all our premium content. It entails a free shirt at sign up. Look at that. You also get a diehard membership card, access to the members Discord, which honestly we should do more. That's our Discord lounge there. And then discounts at the DMVR bar, at our events, on our merch. And you get to do that all for $36. That's basically the price of a t-shirt alone. So if you're
fire
thinking
sale.
of getting a shirt, you might as well just become a diehard, get that free shirt. And for that extra $2, you get all the perks I just made for an entire year. On top of that, you get to support people who truly believe in your teams, who believe that all our teams deserve great coverage. All our teams deserve in-depth coverage. So yeah, check us out, ddmbr.com. And if you're a true Denver sports fan, I don't know what you're waiting on, because I remember what this town was as a sports town before us. And I tell you, it was a whole lot of Broncos chatter and not much else. And I know the sports town deserves a lot more than that. So if you agree with me, check us out, ddmbr.com/ oh, no, just join, actually. Join.
Also, discounts at the bar. And if you watch Pids games, me and Dwayne, as more summertime, we're going to be watching a lot of Rapids games here. So come join us. Might as well do it with the discount.
C38 is doing their
Bar crawl.
Colfax bar crawl.
Yeah.
They're gonna finish that up on Saturday here at DMVR bar to watch the game. What better time to get that discount than at a bar crawl that's gonna end here for the game?
Kind of lit.
Yeah, and the big sale. You know,
It's also gonna be
$3 a month.
It's going to be super lit Saturday, too. 2 playoff games and the bar crawl, and none of them are overlapping.
Yeah.
You can have a great time here.
It's going
It's
to
gonna
be
be wild.
magical. So yes, check out the DMVR bar, check out DMVR events, thedmvr.com/events for any of our watch parties. Doing a Broncos draft party here in just a week from tomorrow. Going to be exciting. Got a few special guests. And yeah, all the watch parties. I mean, now is the time to get in on DMVR. So QR code, link in the description. The whole shebang. Here to stay? The 4-4-2 that masquerades as a 4-2-3-1? Talk to me, Yaya.
We've seen it before from Armas last year at
New York.
He did it. Had great results. I thought it unlocked a lot of different players. I think Omir played the best in that game too. I thought Rafa had one of his better games. And then immediately next week went back to the 4-3-2, whatever he plays, like where he comes constantly just changing it to 4-3-3. So
Yeah.
I hope it is. I hope that he sticks around with this 4-4-2. I think he's had 2 games with great results in it. But I also do fear that sometimes you just kind of go back to what you know. And Armas is really good at adjusting game to game. But if he feels like he can beat the Houston Dynamo, which not a great team, with the formation that he taught his team at the beginning of the year, he might just default to that. And especially with having Cudi Pietro back, does he want to throw him into that kind of fray? Does he want to throw him into like the right side and see what he does there? Does he trust Omir a little bit more? I'm hoping that he sticks with it. But Armas does seem to be... It's his habit. Like everybody else, you default to what you know, and if he feels like he can win that way, I think he's gonna keep it.
Yeah, it's a astute point. Way to
Bring
way
you
to
back
pour
to it.
pour cold water over our excitement.
He's not wrong though. I mean, but we don't know. I mean, we didn't expect him to jump back into that, whatever you want to call it, 4-4-2 or whatever. And he threw it out. So Houston is not good. Like, this should be an absolute guaranteed 3 points from the Rapids.
It should be a
I don't want to
model
get into, predictions or previewing it, but I think using that, as a discussion point for, do we stay in this formation or do we go back to the usual? I think it's probably one of those go back to the usual because you've got some players who are still recovering in Reggie and Vines. They're not 100%. I didn't think either of them had very good games on Saturday.
Yep.
I'm not going to say it's because of them. Neither of them are fit. Like, they're not 100% right now. Yeah. And then you've got Teddy coming on. So we may see him go back to the usual in an effort to plug in, okay, what if we go back to our regular, but Cabral doesn't start, but Ted does instead? We can test this out now against a team that should be beatable. So I think we may see a back to the usual in order to kind of play test these new players.
Yeah, I could really see a 4-3-3 with Ted where Kevin's played all season.
But it's also like he does such a good job. Armas does such a good job of understanding his players, rewarding them, giving them opportunities, and keeping their confidence up. What does it do for Yapi if you split him out after having probably the best game of his career?
I agree.
Like, what does it do for his confidence? It's a young guy that you need him. So it's such a fine line, and I'm playing my own devil's advocate here, but it's like that's something that gives me some hope that he'll stick with the 4-4-2 and reward Yapi for the hard work he put in
100%.
and everything he did for the team on Saturday against what's become a juggernaut so far this season.
Yeah, no, I would like to see more of this. I think this is the way. But they've also got options. I mean, I think what's coming out of all this is between Ted coming back, Yapi having the best game of his career, Omir being in the best stretch of form I think we've ever seen him as a Burgundy boy. You've got more options than we felt like we had a month ago. So that gives you more formational versatility, and we shall see what sticks against the lowly Dynamo. Yeah, you wanted to talk some transfers.
Yes.
We've got this transfer window open.
Till next week, I think the 19th. I think it's when it closes.
Yes, I maybe saw the 23rd. I'll look that up. The details aren't important.
Okay, so far the Rapids have brought in Cheeto,
Yes, sir.
Ian,
Yes, sir.
Cudi Pietro,
Yep.
and Josh Atencio as their four main guys.
Correct.
Then they got the winger from Orange
April
County.
23rd, yeah.
April 23rd. They got their winger from
Yes,
From
Bryce
Orange County?
Jameson, right?
correct. What would you guys grade the guys that have been here so far on the team? Like, is it all positive except for maybe Cudi Pietro?
Right,
It's a
which is an
DNP.
He's a question
incomplete.
mark.
Yeah.
I mean, Cheeto has been an absolute success. He's one of the best players on the team.
The upgrade from Lalas is just
Yeah,
night and
it's
day.
a
It's
huge,
outstanding.
it's a
I'm
huge
sorry.
jump. But also just not just from a skill and talent standpoint, but from a dog standpoint. Like, he plays his ass off. And
They're definitely barking.
yeah. And so that's I mean, that's what you need. This was a very bad defense. You know, I'm not saying this defense is solved or that it's incredible. It's in a transition to being much better than it was last year. Low bar, but
You also
Cheeto
wonder,
has
like,
he's really been leading the charge on that.
100%. The defense also gets a lot of the benefit of Big Steph being
Yes.
out of his mind, because in some ways, if that wasn't the case, I wonder if,
Sure.
Ian Murphy also he's the Oli also that defense. Play him anywhere on that pitch, and I'm extremely
He's
happy.
ready. Yeah.
To me, that double transfer for $1 million in GAM is like, it's going to go down as one of the best transfer moves
Absolutely.
of the entire offseason, because to be able to plug,
Maybe Poragera.
It's up there.
It has to be.
It's
Sure.
up there. It's really, I mean, just getting Cheeto alone. If you got just Cheeto alone at that price, you'd be like, what a steal. But to get Cheeto and Ian Murphy's been outstanding. I mean, outstanding. I think he's maybe been, Maxu's played really well, right? I've talked about give Maxu his flowers. Like, I think this season we're starting to see a much better version. I think Murphy's maybe outplayed him, though, at center back when he's played. And then the fact that he can be plugged in at left back is incredible.
Well, that's great. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
we
also played
started with
right.
Maxu being injured, and we were like, oh, crap. But then Ian Murphy's like, I got it.
Yeah. No, like,
Very
It's all
similar
right.
to big dudes that are just
Yeah.
Yeah,
back there.
he's
outstanding.
And then Josh Atencio, I think
I mean, the dude's hardly missed a game.
it's like a B plus, but like a very like solid B plus for a guy that had no offseason training with this
Yep.
team.
Yep.
A guy that came in, was asked to do something that he hadn't done in 2 years because they were playing at center back in Seattle. Like, I think it's a success story. Is he as good as I think he could be? No, not yet, because there's still so much going on with this team. But he is the defensive mid the Rapids have been missing. And you can really tell that
100%.
back line relies on him so much to recover the ball. And Georgie and Ollie rely on him to get them the ball as quickly as possible. And I think that's where Josh has been just an incredible piece for this team.
We haven't had that piece since Jack Price.
That's
literally-
exactly right.
That's
Since 2
exactly-
years, since 2 years before Jack Price left because he was injured.
That's
his final
exactly
2
right.
years. So it's been a long time.
He's
Yep.
the glue, right, between the offense and
Yes,
exactly what
yes.
you want that holding
Yep.
mid, defensive mid to be. Like, it's been incredible to watch him progress through that. And he might be on that level of, is he going to go to Europe in a couple of years if he continues this kind of ascension, in my opinion? Like,
On another guy who could be a very nice backup to like a Tyler Adams on the USMNT, you know, it's a B plus. I think we agree. I think that's reasonable. What would it take to get Josh up to an A?
I think,
Because his defensive cover, it's A plus type stuff.
yeah, I think offensively, he just needs to be able to pick his holes more to kind of push up.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be more offensively aware at times. I feel like sometimes he's lacking and just gets caught out of position or gets caught out of where he should be kind of leaking to the right or leaking to the left to find that next pass. He kind of stays back. He's a little afraid to leave that defensive role a little bit. I think him being more adventurous offensively would really just push him into that almost perfect role for the Rapids.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's more playmaking, shooting chops that we can unlock there. But figuring it out, I mean, that midfield three, I think they've had to be pretty adaptable and patient as they're all figuring out how to work with each other. And you got to give them that patience for sure. Nice to have Ted back. Obviously, the start of the season, tough with him being out, but pretty exciting nonetheless that you have him. I mean, we talked about, top of my wish list would be a DP winger. Well, Ted has the potential to be at that level.
What if I tell you can get a DP winger level without the DP price tag?
I'm saying, man.
Was this the trade we were
That's
talking
the trade
about?
I was talking to Dwayne about.
All right,
Ah,
listen to
this
this.
is-
Phil.
this is-
I wanna
this
see
is
what
kinda
Dre
why-
thinks.
this is kinda why I
wanna
wanted to
see
bring
what
this
Dre
up.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this
Transfer
up.
So this is
know.
why I kind of wanted to talk
All
transfer.
right, here's our fantasy world, folks.
Okay,
So this
let's
is what I'm
do it.
hoping for.
GM Yaya.
There's this guy out there in SKC, horrible team. Peter Remus is gone, has been a staple of the team for so long. Where's the number 10 for them? Daniel Shalhoub. He's on a TAM deal, still a playmaker, plays out wide. Dude is a creator. You basically have a Georgie out left, a Georgie out right. He's on a TAM deal, making less than Cabral. You're now only owe Cabral about $1.4 million in his contract, so you could still buy him out with that. You could probably send a Connor Ronan and about $500,000 in GAM for Daniel Shalhoub, because that team's gonna try to rebuild. They're gonna try to get the Peter Vermeer's. His contract ends in 2026.
So you buy out Cabral, you trade Ronan, and $500,000 in GAM.
And you bring in Daniel Shalhoub, and he's not on a DP deal. Like,
Yeah, where do I sign?
This to me is a guy that's like
obviously, right?
To me, there's a deal that like 28 years old. I'm like, I'm hitting him up right now. Like that SKC team is bad. They're going nowhere.
Ronan also would feel like a nice buy low candidate right now.
Exactly.
Like for a team like SKC, you could do a lot.
Who's trying to rebuild that midfield, trying to rebuild that team. They need to get fresh blood in there, kind of get that some of that old guard out with Peter Vermees. I think that's the guy.
The only question is, are you denying some of these other guys on the wing opportunities?
That's my issue with
Cal. I mean, forget the guys we've talked about to this point. Even Yapi, this takes away some time from him.
Exactly.
Alex Harris, KSB, Omir, who's really shined. Calvin Harris, who hasn't quite found his footing. Ted, all of a sudden, it's much harder to insert him into that starting lineup.
And this was a deal I had in mind before this game, which we saw more talent for sure. But when I thought of a guy that you could go out in MLS in their transfer, that's a guy that I think, why are more teams not trying to knock down the door, like break down the door for this guy? That team is horrible. The transfer window's open. I don't think SKC is going anywhere. Peter Vermees is gone. You need to change the old guard, bring in new blood. That's your guy in the wing.
I mean, is that still top of the wish list after this game? Now that this transfer window is open until the 23rd of April?
Probably. I think the Rapids are kind of done, as they should be. I think
too.
they have more than enough talent to at least get through the summer and then
wait
reevaluate.
till the summer window time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to reevaluate.
There are other teams that are kind of panicking. Toronto, RSL, SKC. Those are the teams that feel more pressure to make a move now.
Yeah. 100%.
Is there something you
It's
wish
still
for?
It's still my top wish. Yeah. We had one good game. So, I mean, it's great. We had one good game. We finally unlocked the right side, but we've had a lot of other games where everyone's crying about wingers, including myself. So, it's still my top wish until I've seen some consistency. One game does not solve it for me, though I am super encouraged. But we don't know if we're going to see that formation again this season.
Yeah.
We may not see it, and then we'll see it next year, and we'll go, oh, yeah, remember last year we used it in San Diego, and then the year one time before that in New York. Yeah. So we'll see. It's still, until it is solved on a consistent basis, it's always going to be top for me. I think Ted might be the guy. So, I mean, that could be solved for me in the next month. It's just because him coming back from injury, we've had to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Omir has been balling too.
That's what Omir's been
might be
good.
the guy, man.
He's been good. Like
And
him and Stefan have had the biggest bounce back seasons.
100%.
Like
Right.
Just
maybe Max Sue behind them.
yeah, it just like meteoric.
Yeah,
bounce back.
100%.
I was
for
just
both
a
of
year
those guys.
early on Omir, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Wingers there, but I am worried. Like, believe in your vision, believe in your vision. It's already starting to pay off with some of the stuff we saw in this game. So no need to punt on it right away.
Yep.
But I think there's no urgency to do a move on the 23rd. Let's see where we're at when that summer window opens. In the next couple months before that summer window opens, will be watching the defensive backs. How's Sam coming back? How's he looking this season is huge. How's Reggie really looking? Because I do think you need a teensy bit more from those guys if you're going to play any variation of the couple systems we've seen so far this season. You just need a little more push. I think the defensive cover's been good, but if you don't have that push up, this team just lacks too much width to truly be consistently dangerous. So that's where I'll be looking, and maybe in a couple months I'll be advocating for shopping around to go and find a left back, a right back, depending on how those guys perform. Because
that's my next two.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that was right in my head was left back, depending on how Sammy recovers from injury.
I would love an Eric Duenas from LAFC, the guy that can be on the right side too.
Who is the Sounders
Nohu?
left back you like?
Nohu?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to leave Seattle anytime. Also, Gio Reyna out there, LAFC interested. head case. But you want to fit, if you're trying to keep a vision together, that's a vision for you.
Look, is he a head case? I don't know.
His dad's a head case.
He's had a rough stretch, that's for sure.
If he is, then I'm all for him going to LAFC and wrecking that club. Count me in. Sign him.
Slowly but surely, all
if
the top
he's
dogs are
not,
going down.
And it's overblown and it's just weird, then send him to Colorado. It's beautiful here.
Perfect transition to the Pids have gone to the USL since we last did our Wednesday morning podcast and gone to get a very intriguing U.S. Youth International in Bryce Jamison. Just turned 18. He's playing out there for Orange County SC. Had 9 goal contributions in 2,000 minutes last season. So that's, under 23 games worth. That's almost a goal contribution every other game. Kid's got a lot of intriguing stuff as kind of a taller, longer winger. One of those wingers with like a longer stride. If you're thinking, oh, that reminds me of Kevin Cabral. Nope. Take that thought out of your head.
Highlights remind me so much of Kevin Cabral.
It's not where we're going with this.
Watching League 2 highlights of Kevin Cabral and then watching his highlights, it's 1 for 1 almost.
No doubt. But he is 18. He can run. He's got a nose for goal. Intrigued by the pressing and tracking back stuff I've seen out of him from watching a little USL. So that'll be a fun project. He's going to stay on loan out to the USL for the rest of the season. But if we're ever bored and we want to put on an Orange County game, we've got something to watch. It's exactly the kind of profile I think they need to keep going after.
Yep.
Keep making the Pids American and fun. And, it's not a DP winger, but it's a winger with maybe that kind of upside in a couple years.
And they have a type, right? They had KDP, Georgie, Zach, Cole, Ollie, Yapi, all USMNT guys came up through the system, played at the youth levels. Then they've developed some of those guys, maybe not to be international superstars, but to be very useful pieces for USMNT teams, B squad, T squad, and some of them even A squad, like Zach and Georgie. They're really good at developing these youth internationals. And even Adam Boldry, throw him into that kind of fray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you have some of the best coaching in the world, in my opinion, with Sharpie and the goalkeepers. And some of these forward coaches are very well renowned around the league. If you're a young U.S. national, why wouldn't you want to come to the Rapids? They have a track record of being helpful for your career.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's a smart way of doing business right now. In other news, the Denver NWSL team, which remains nameless, though I think that's coming pretty soon here.
Feels like it's coming soon.
Does
Nameless
have
FC, let's go.
A new team president, Jen Millette, former CFO of Bay FC, which was an expansion team last year. They did some really successful revenue and ticket sales, and then they made it to the playoff crunch. I think they were 7th in the standings, so on field as well. Any thoughts on this, Dwayner?
It's a good hire. You had mentioned Colorado native, so she's coming home. She's familiar with the Colorado vibe, she understands the people who are going to be in the stadium, not just from a native standpoint, which she is, but she's lived here. She knows what it's like to have a bunch of people move here. So I think she's going to be good to kind of understand that transplant situation and be able to win some of those folks who maybe already have allegiances to other teams wherever they're coming from, win them over to the Denver team. Like you said, ticket revenue, she led Bay FC to a top 3 in ticket revenue.
Yeah.
Over 10,000 season ticket memberships, number 1 in merchandise sales. For me, that all is really based on the brand. How well you nail the naming of it and name the crest will determine that and give you a lot of help. But she's a marketing
Bay FC's
person.
logo looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and easy to sell, you know. But the cool thing is that she comes from a marketing background. She was the CMO, you know, chief
Worked
marketing
with the
officer
Warriors
at Golden State
Chase Center, and that was started in 2019. That was a big move, moving kind of where the Warriors play from the Bay side of Oakland to the Bay side of San Francisco. That's become a premier arena. So I like that she's dealt with expansion teams before. She's dealt with new arenas and stadiums before. She's a Colorado native. She's worked in the NWSL. A lot of experience that'll serve her really well.
I love that she's a marketing person. You know, a lot of times you get these execs that come from just a money, you know, and a numbers background. And so you end up with a club that lacks creative vision moving forward from a marketing and design standpoint. So I like that she has a marketing background. I think that's really exciting. I think it could be fun. It's good. I mean, man, this team is just, I mean, given they don't have much time. I think 14 months from the time they announced the team, you know, coming here
I think
to opening day.
Crunch.
So, I mean, they really, I think they're really making it happen, but also they don't have a choice. Like Rob Cohen and gang are, and now Jen Millett, Jen, I'll figure out.
Millet. We'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
We're gonna try
maybe
and
we'll
have her on.
ask her in person coming up soon.
You know, I like that she's dealt with like cities and new stadium operations. I think that'll serve her well. I mean, both Oakland and San Francisco, not necessarily the easiest municipalities to deal with. So I think she will come in with
also just having
some good chops in that area.
The best part is also like those cities also have such established fan bases for their sport teams already. And she was able to take some of that share and give it to the Bay and to the soccer team. And I think that's very important in Colorado. You're coming into a city that has a professional team in every sport here. And you do have to somewhat compete with them because you play in the summertime. There is the Rockies. There is the playoffs for Nuggets and Avs. And I think she's going to do a really good job of being able to like the Rapids, like
let me
the
Let
Rapids.
me help.
But there is some competition
for
there.
the last 55 minutes.
Yeah, there is some competition there, and I think it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good that she knows how to deal with trying to capture the attention of the audience.
Let me support Yaya in this. The summer choices for sports in Colorado.
Yeah.
You get baseball or soccer.
Eating healthy, doing drugs.
Yes.
That was the UC Health read. I'm sorry.
Perhaps at either of those opportunities.
Good.
Coming from the Bay Area, coming from an Oakland area where the non-soccer option was terrible and the fan base truly hated the owner for ruining their baseball team.
Yep.
You now come to your non-soccer choice, which is a baseball team where fans not real crazy about the ownership, and the team is pretty stinky.
Nice comp.
So she knows how to work with those fan bases, like Yaya is saying, and bring them into hey, baseball pissing you off? Try out a soccer game. We've got something new and exciting. We think you're really going to dig it. And the weather's beautiful. What's
Great
not to love?
I mean, who knew all we needed to grow the sport in America was just shit on baseball?
I think baseball fans knew and they tried to buy back.
That's marketing, baby.
But it's like it's just good. It's like perfect timing, man. World Cup's coming up. People are going to be soccer pilled. New stadiums, new team, new environment. It's just going to be so easy for this team to come in and capture everybody's heart if they do it right. And so far, they have.
100%. Next steps: GM. Name. I think both are coming pretty soon, and don't be surprised once that GM is in place, if they start making moves pretty quickly. And you have a roster that, even though it's a year from now, starts being built out with players who will be loaned out in their final season to their existing teams but are already under contract. Very exciting. We will be following every step of the way. You each have 10 seconds before we say up the Pids to give me a game prediction on the Dynamo. Dwayne, then Yaya, then me.
4-0 Pids.
Screw the Dynamo.
Yeah.
3-0 Dynamo.
Whoa, that's the
You're
trick,
the
though.
worst.
That's the trick.
What a waste of 10 seconds.
Some have said he's a straight hoe. Give me 2-0 Pids. It's back to a Georgie Hoffa 1-2. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love the Toyota chat. Didn't even get to the new schedule stuff. Tune in next Wednesday. Check out the super subs, Blue Sky, Twitter, and our audio feed for the podcast. Until then, up the Pids, baby.
We all silly like the mayor.